Welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's Wednesday Wisdom guest, but we want to give a shout out to our two podcast partners, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports and We Coach. You've heard me say before, these are two great organizations that you should really be a part of. So go ahead and check out We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. Now let's have a quick word from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channel. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. Go to Gipper.com and use our podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's Gipper.com. Create custom branded content for your school's social media channel. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor scoring tables and video boards. We've got a Sideline Interactive score table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. We use it for games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle for their support. Go to huddle.com and join the over 200,000 teams that use Huddle to help their coaches and athletes perform better. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And Huddle's going to provide those tools to help your teams, your coaches, and your athletes play at their highest level. It's a complete solution with professional-grade analysis. Go to huddle.com and join the 6 million users and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to thank Snap Mobile. Go to onsnap.com. That's onsnap.com and check out their entire suite of platforms that are designed to help make your job easier. SnapRaise is their fundraising platform. Our coaches use SnapRaise to raise thousands of dollars at our school, and you can do the same. They even have a program where you can get your money before you actually start your fundraiser. Snap Connect is their multilingual family engagement platform. Snap Store allows you to order custom spirit gear. Snap Manage will help you design an entire website, and there's so much more. Go to onsnap.com. That's onsnap.com for more information. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Their mission is to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards for all your sports or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and talk to their professional staff. They're going to get you up and running in no time. And again, their mission is to bring your school's legacy to life. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration, but Final Forms is more than that. Final Forms can help your parents with reminders about physicals, about policies, and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can help your coaches with attendance and communication. And for you as an athletic director, Final Forms can help you with all the reports that come across your desk, with eligibility, with rosters. The list is endless. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake and get started with Final Forms. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing and their new partner, Ticket Spicket. Together, Hometown and Ticket Spicket will provide a stronger and more comprehensive digital ticketing and event management software solution for you. They'll show you how to set up and sell your tickets online, collect your revenue. They also will show you how to do that same thing for school dances, for school plays and concerts. You can find it all at hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. They sponsor the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of the podcast. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Surveys are a great way to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes and get that feedback that allows you to manage your athletic program. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com for more information. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got a friend of the show. She was a guest a while back, just did a great job. I'm excited that she's joining our Wednesday Wisdom team. Today we have Dr. Iyhia McMichael. If you don't recognize that name, you should. She is, I would dare say, a legendary figure in, women's softball. Was an outstanding college player, professional player, also a college coach, and now she is the girls softball coach at Frisco Emerson High School. That's in Texas, and she joins us today. Welcome back, Iyhia McMichael.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on this morning.
Well, I know it's a busy time. You just wrapped up, your national, coaches conference for softball. But before we jump in, give our listeners just a quick reminder of your story. It's a great story, but let them know a little bit of who Iyhia McMichael is, and then we'll get into your Wednesday Wisdom segment.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a teacher coach family, and I swore I'd never be a teacher and a coach, but I always tell people that it chose me. I couldn't run from it. So my father was a coach, my mother was a coach, and several other of my family members. But I grew up playing several sports, but during my tenure in high school, it was volleyball, softball, and basketball. But softball stuck with me. I spent all of my time and sacrifice and commitment with the sport of softball, and I had the privilege of playing with the Katy Cruisers with my good friend Catherine Osterman, which is a very familiar name in the softball world. And people always ask me if I pitch, and I said yes. But when you're on a team with Cat Osterman, you just find another place to play. So I went and played in the outfield, and I loved it. And then had the opportunity to play collegiately at Mississippi State University. And from there, was recruited to play for the USA team. And that was an absolute honor to put the red, white, and blue on and have USA across your chest. And then I ended playing 4 years for the professional softball league with the Akron Racers. So, and then once I finished playing, I went on to coach some collegiately, and then I have landed at this particular point in my life at the high school level.
Yeah, and again, I encourage listeners to look up Iyhia's background. Just a tremendous playing background, and also she's created quite a name for herself as a coach. I think she's probably one of the go-to sources for hitting and how to improve your hitting. Well, Dr. McMichael, thanks again for joining us today. What do you have for our listeners on Wednesday Wisdom?
One of the things that I think is important for me to talk about today, I just had a phone call with a friend of mine who was asking me about leadership. She had a great opportunity to step into a girls' AD role. And so she called me to ask me what I thought about that and how she felt like she needed to prepare. And so it kind of got me thinking about what leadership is and how you can sort of create your own path to become the best leader you can be. And one of the things I want to share is what I have read and what I have been told and what I've experienced is that in order to get yourself on the right track for leadership, you have to find out who you are first. And that is a oftentimes grueling, self-reflective process because it's so hard to look in the mirror and say, like, where are my weaknesses? So that way I can lead better. But I would encourage anyone to go through that hard process of looking in the mirror and truly find out what characteristics about you will make you a great leader, because we hear stories, we read books, and we take bits and pieces of other stories and make it, and it becomes part of us. But the hard part is filtering out what's not authentic to you, because you can only lead authentically, and consistently when you're your true self. So I always encourage people to start there first, so that way you know how to be consistent in the way that you lead others, so that way they can be a part of your shared vision, which leads me into my next step is having a vision. Whenever you go into a promoted leadership role, you have to have an understanding of where that group is and where you would like to see them going. One of the best examples that I've heard, actually a couple of days ago, is that as you move up, your vision and your perspective broadens. So you are a leader always as a coach, but then as you move up to a coordinator's position, then that lens broadens, and then the higher you go, the broader it gets. And I thought that that was a really clear picture of what leadership is, because you just have a bigger scope, a bigger lens to look at. But authenticity is to me one of the most foundational parts of becoming a leader.
Well, absolutely. Knowing who you are, and then you also talked about, that situation, being able to, read the room, whether it's a team or a department or an entire school. Um, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You obviously you had great success as a player, high school, college, international, professional. You've been an athletic director, and now you're a coach and a teacher. What are some of the things about you? What are some of your foundational tools, if you will, things that you think that you are really good at? We'll turn that lens around and give you a chance to share. What are a couple things that you feel allow you to be successful in the roles that you've had?
I think one of my strengths is I'm incredibly self-reflective. I try my best to become aware, like you said, read the room and become aware of like how I'm leading in that moment, and reflecting after that instance or that circumstance or whatever that is, and reflecting like, did I lead authentically? Did I make the best decision? And I think one of the pieces to leadership is that you're making a decision that will benefit the most people. You're not going to always make everyone happy, but am I making a decision that is consistent, that is firm and fair, and that can lead the most people forward? And I think that I often say sometimes you have to be the leader, and sometimes you get to be the leader. And when you have to make those hard decisions, that's when you have to be the leader. But hard decisions doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that you have to make it for the benefit of the group. And then something I tweeted yesterday, that I feel like I'm strong at is, um, I don't always give a snap response. I think that there's very seldom situations that are urgent, um, that you have to respond right then and there. So I think one of the things that people know about me in making decisions is that I always say, let me process and think through that, and then I'll get back to you. Because I want to make sure that I'm filtering through all the lenses, and that I'm making a decision not based on emotions, because sometimes as leaders, they come to you with a heightened emotion and it's important to them. But it's I think important to us as leaders to kind of take a step back and say, okay, what's going to be the best decision for everybody? So I think reflection, I think the ability to process and take my time and think through situations, to make the best decisions. And then the other thing that I think I'm really good at is encouraging people to do hard things, and then being their support through those things, through inspiration, through motivation, through empowerment, um, and that they can do it, and I have their back through that. So I think those are some of the three strengths that I feel like I have as a leader.
Oh wow, great! I love the way that you described. You really painted a picture of those. Very cool. Again, we talked about your success as a player. I always joke that injuries and a lack of talent kept me out of the NFL. But I love sports. You know, any sport. You know, high school, college. I played some college sports, but I just loved it. And as a coach, it took me a while to understand that not every kid is going to love the sport as much as I did, and so I had to become a better coach. So that strength, I guess, loving sports, actually, could be a liability if you don't understand that all kids aren't going to have that. So, what are one or two things over your career have you seen that maybe we reverse that lens, that something that you needed to work on. Can you share maybe one of those with our listeners?
Absolutely. I think when I first started out coaching, coming off of USA and coming off of professional softball, I was not good at that. I thought everyone loved to play and I thought everyone wanted to go to the next level. And I wasn't willing to bend on that mindset. Um, and so I'm thankful for coaches along the way who had the courage to say or to be Mac. They call me Mac. They said, Mac,
Yeah.
not everybody is at that level because when you're in it, you feel like everyone plays like that. Everyone's at that
Mhm.
level, and you can't imagine anything different. And so, um, one of the things that I feel like has helped me is a conversation with my grandmother. And she said something not even relating to, um, this particular situation, but it was a conversation we had. And she said, you have to be able to swim in different waters, which basically means that um, if you're in a room full of people and not everybody wants to talk about sport, you got to have something to talk about. And so that encouraged me to broaden my lens, which led also into broaden my lens as coaches. And people are going to come into my softball program for a myriad of reasons. Some want to play at the next level. Some just want to be a part of something. And some just want to like for some of our athletes, high school is their college. They will never play after high school. And how to service those athletes and keep them involved has only made me better. So, but being able to still coach at a high level. So understanding that there is life outside of sports, and but also understanding that it all bleeds into one, and being able to paint that picture and say, here are the skill sets that you can get from being part of a team. And being a part of a team is pretty cool. And you don't have to do everything by yourself. And everyone has different strengths and roles. And I think over the past 5 years, one of the things that has been the most beneficial is that we've done a myriad of different like personality assessments with our team. And so that kind of gives people the freedom to be who they are within our program. Like I'm last year we did colors. This year we're going to do the Enneagram that I picked up from NFCA. And so I think that that just opens up a different level of conversation and belonging that kids need. And then out of that bursts, you never know. So just me expanding and then also becoming a mom myself and understanding that, parents look at things from a different lens and they just want their kids to be a part of something. So just broadening my perspective has been helpful.
Well, again, great observations and perspectives. The whole parenting thing, that's a completely separate interview we'll have to do and revisit that. Um, Coach, Dr. Iyhia McMichael, thanks so much for coming on Wednesday Wisdom. If one of our listeners wants to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Yes, you can reach me on Twitter at IamMac. And then I also have Instagram that is also at IamMac. And then if anything relating to hitting, it's at Hitting with Mac. And so any of those platforms. And then my last one is TikTok. I've joined the TikTok world, and that is at Coach Mac SB. So any of those platforms, you can follow along and see what's going on in the hitting world as well, just for leadership.
Right. And again, I was very active on Twitter, with videos, some really, really cool stuff. I encourage you to reach out, not just softball wise, but leadership wise as well. Dr. Mack, thanks again for joining us and all the best moving forward.
Thank you so much for having me.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of every interview get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back next Wednesday for more Wednesday wisdom and just about every day on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for listening to today's Wednesday Wisdom episode. Like I said, we do this every single week, and we hope you're enjoying the content from these guests. We do want to thank our partners, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports, and our sponsors, Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, use our podcast code and get 10% off. That's ADPOD10, Gipper.com. Also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. Go to hometownticketing.com for more information. I want to thank Huddle. As an athletic director, you need to really think about turning your school into a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com for more information. I want to thank the good people at Snap Mobile. Go to onsnap.com. That's onsnap.com, and check out their entire suite of different platforms designed to help you do your job better. SnapRaise, hands down, the best fundraising application you can find. We used it to raise thousands of dollars at our school. I want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to get started with the Final Forms team. I want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards, don't look no farther. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. I want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor scoring tables and video boards. Their products not only help you generate income for the department, but also create the ultimate game day experience in your gym. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. You're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at athleticsurveys.com and get started. Once again, thanks for listening to Wednesday Wisdom. Come back just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.